course, I bought Fantastic Four off the stand. I bought 2 copies, and I sold the spare with the price over 50 cents. No fool me.
Do you still have the other one?
The other one's in a bound copy. Yeah, it's in a bound.
Okay.
Water damage, but still, there's worth more than the 10 cents I paid for it. And so I bought them all. In fact, my first contact with Stan was that I missed one issue of Spider-Man early in the 6th or something, and I dropped a line to Marvel, and he sent me the copy, and a little note. But I never thought about working for Marvel because it looked like he was, wanting to write everything himself.
Yeah.
And when he wrote it, it always got better anyway than when someone else wrote it. So, but in the meantime, I got offered this job to be the assistant editor of Superman comics, which I didn't really read, but I loved the character. I loved DC. I was in touch with Joey Schwartz over Justice League and all that. Loved that guy. Gardner Fox, who wrote that stuff. So I went to work for DC and discovered in a week or so, actually about 15 minutes, but over the next week or two, that I just couldn't get along with the editor.
Neither did any other department-based life form, but
but I wanted to meet Stan Lee because I knew he was doing the best. Much as I loved the stuff by Brooke and Gardner and all the other people, I knew that Stan was doing the best writing in comics, and they were the most exciting comics. Of course, I've been a fan of Kirby since the 50s or 40s even, and Ditko since Captain at least. And so I dropped him a line saying, could I go out and buy you a drink somewhere, and he said, I don't socialize too much, I live out in the island, but if you want to take this little writing test, that we have, a few pages. So I sneak up on one of my lunch hours, and I meet Flo Steinberg, who brings me out some pages, the secretary. And next day, I started writing something, just bang something out.
Let me interrupt you for just a second, if I may, just for the newbies in the audience. So the way Stan and his collaborators did all their work back then, Stan would either verbalize or just throw out real quick plot synopses to the artists, who would then be responsible for turning those pages into actual storytelling, and then Stan would come and add dialogue later once the art was finished. So when you say writing,
but these were pages that had been penciled and written. They were from Fantastic Four #2, which had already been published.
Okay.
They had taken the art stats, they had wired out all the balloons and various things like this, and then put like little tiny simple notes, they go after Dr. Doom type of stuff. It was 4 pages. And of course I could have looked at the comics had I had them with me, but that wouldn't have helped me. But I just banged them out at the little hotel room where I was staying. And then I went the next day. I was working my way up the food chain. When I went back in, I saw Brodsky, the production manager,
right,
which is the comic books. He came out to pick them up from me still, and so forth. And the next day, Friday morning, I was proofreading Supergirl story, drawn by Jim Mooney. When I got this call, this high-pitched voice, I recognized right away it was Flo Steinberg, even though I'd met her for 2 minutes. And she said, Stan would like to see you. Can you come up at lunch? So I sneak off at lunch. It's about a 10-minute walk or so, and I go in and meet Stan. And he knew my name from, I reviewed the first issue of the Fantastic Four in a little bad review it was a good review, but it was badly written in the Comic Collector, the first issue of that, and when I was doing Alter Ego. And, so about 10 minutes or so after we met, we were talking for a few minutes, and I asked him about continued stories which the readers hated. He said, I hate them, but they make it easy for me to do it because I can remember what I did last month. Things like that. And I said, why did you take Thor and Iron Man out of Avengers? The questions we all wanted to know. If I got a job, we never discussed the writing thing, ever. Before or after, ever. He did everything. But suddenly, when he looks out the window, he liked to look out the window before, look at the girls out the window. And down there, and he suddenly he's looking out the window and he says, so, what do we have to do to hire you away from Nashville? And I said, well, offer me a job. I said, I would like it there. They decreased by $10 a week the amount they offered me when I got here. Said, offer me the amount of money that I was supposed to get, it was $110 a week, which is more than now, but it still wasn't a princely sum. And I said, and I'll come over. So this is okay. So he says, well, I have to give them notice. I won't leave them in the lurch, and everything. So I go back. I'm half an hour late coming back from lunch, and which is notice. Mark Weisinger calls me into his office with his little buzzer that has this Pavlovian reaction on me a few cubicles down. Not only me, but Nelson Bridwell reported on that. And I go down there and I tell him, and he starts, people have told him to be nice, but Ed Eisenberg and Julie will tell him, we don't think Roy is going to take the kind of treatment you're dishing out the way that Nelson Bridwell did the last year or two, and so forth. You really should be a little nicer. So port was giving it his dry. He was trying to be human, you know.
Okay.
And he was saying, you know, well, the guys were telling me maybe I'm a little hard on you, this and that, so he's trying to be nice. So I said, well, it's very nice work, and, you know, I understand that, you know, I admire your talent, you've done with Superman and everything, but it's kind of academic because I'm afraid I've accepted an offer to work for Marvel, you know, which kind of jaw kind of dropped. So I said, well, you know, but I said, I told him, you know, that I had to get it 2 or 3 weeks notice, as long as you need. I said, I think you should get Nelson back, you know, but I said, you know, 2 or 3 weeks, whatever you need, I'll stick around. I won't leave you in the lurch. He says, you're a spy for Stan Lee, get out, you know. So 20 minutes later, I'm back there and Stan, you know, modeling with Millie's story, by Stan Goldberg to write.
Yeah. And
that was it. But I did stick around 15 years at Marvel. It's 15 years at Marvel to show you I don't change job every 2 weeks. This was in July of 1965. But at that time, Avengers had been out for about 2 years.